Part 1. First Discovery. The old radio telescope station sat quietly in the rolling hills outside Gwangju, a place where most people thought nothing exciting ever happened. Kim Jae-wook was different. At 34, he wasn't the typical scientist, more of a coffee-loving dreamer with messy hair and worn-out sneakers who believed something extraordinary could happen any moment. That particular Wednesday night was unremarkable. Rain tapped softly against the station's windows, and Jae-wook sat munching convenience store ramen, watching complex signal patterns dance across multiple computer screens. His colleagues had long gone home, but he preferred these solitary moments of potential discovery. Suddenly something peculiar caught his eye. A series of mathematical sequences flickered, not random but deliberately complex. Most researchers would have dismissed it as background noise, but Jae-wook's intuition whispered something was different. He leaned closer, his heart racing. The signal wasn't from any known satellite, terrestrial communication system, or previous cosmic recording. It possessed an intricate pattern that seemed almost intentional. Jae-wook's hands trembled as he began recording and analyzing. Each mathematical sequence felt like a precise language, structured, intelligent, but utterly alien. He compared the signals against global astronomical databases, finding zero matches. His initial excitement mixed with a creeping sense of apprehension. These weren't just random waves. They represented something calculated, something watching. The signals suggested a technological sophistication far beyond current human understanding. For hours, he cross-referenced, analyzed, and double-checked every single detail. The signal maintained its consistent, mysterious structure. No technological glitch, no human interference could explain its existence. By dawn, Jae-wook realized he was holding something extraordinary. But who would believe him? Scientists could be skeptical, dismissing radical discoveries as mere fantasies. He needed concrete evidence. Carefully, he prepared his initial report, methodical, scientific, yet hinting at the extraordinary potential of his discovery. He knew revealing such information could transform everything humanity understood about its place in the universe. The signals continued, rhythmic and persistent. They seemed to pulse with an almost deliberate patience, as if some distant intelligence was carefully studying Earth, measuring humanity's technological capabilities, waiting and observing. Jae-wook understood one thing clearly. Whatever was, sending these signals wasn't just transmitting information. It was assessing, calculating, potentially preparing for something far beyond simple communication. His modest research station, nestled in South Korean countryside, had accidentally become the potential first point of contact with an intelligence that could change human history forever. Little did Jae-wook know that his late-night discovery would set in motion a series of events that would challenge everything humans thought they knew about their place in the cosmos. The universe was about to get a lot more interesting, and humanity was completely unprepared. As sunlight slowly filled the research station, the mysterious signals continued their rhythmic dance across scientific instruments, a silent, patient invitation to an adventure beyond imagination. Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this part, or proceed to the next section? Part 2. Global Preparation Park. Hae-jin wasn't your typical military strategist. At 39, she had a reputation for thinking differently, for seeing solutions where others saw only obstacles. When Jae-wook's initial report landed on her desk, most of her colleagues would have dismissed it as another wild scientific theory, but she saw something else, a potential threat that required immediate, unconventional thinking. The global defense meeting in Seoul was tense. Representatives from multiple countries sat around a massive circular table, their faces a mixture of skepticism and growing concern. Hae-jin stood at the center, her presentation displaying the intricate signal patterns discovered by Jae-wook. "This isn't about traditional warfare," she explained, her voice calm but firm. "We're looking at a potential threat that doesn't follow any conventional military playbook." Her strategy was radical. Instead of preparing massive weapon systems or traditional defense mechanisms, she proposed something entirely different. Humanity's strength wasn't in its military might, but in its ability to adapt, to think creatively, to solve problems nobody else could imagine. She outlined a comprehensive plan that would transform every sector of human society into a potential defense mechanism. Universities would become research hubs developing adaptive technologies. Tech companies would create communication networks that could instantly reconfigure themselves. Even local communities would be trained in rapid response and information sharing. The old military doctrine of centralized command was thrown out. Hyejin believed in a distributed, flexible approach where every individual could become a potential defender. It was like turning the entire human population into a massive, living, breathing defense system. Global technology companies began working on unprecedented projects. Communication networks were redesigned to be more resilient, more adaptive. Satellite systems were modified to create complex, unpredictable communication patterns. Every technological system was being transformed into a potential defensive tool. What made Hyejin's approach unique was her understanding of human potential. She didn't see people as passive victims waiting to be protected. Instead, she saw each person as a potential problem solver, a creative force that could develop unexpected solutions. Training programs were quickly developed. Not military training, but adaptive thinking workshops. Schools started introducing courses on creative problem solving, critical thinking, and rapid adaptation. The entire educational system was being quietly transformed into a massive preparation mechanism. Local. Communities became critical components of this new defense strategy. Neighborhood groups started learning communication protocols, emergency response techniques, and collaborative problem-solving methods. It wasn't about creating fear, but about empowering people. International cooperation reached unprecedented levels. Countries that had been traditional rivals now worked together, sharing research, developing joint communication protocols, and creating a global network of adaptive response teams. Hyejin knew that the real defense wasn't about weapons. It was about creating a global human network so flexible, so creative, that any potential threat would find itself constantly surprised and challenged. As weeks passed, the entire planet was quietly transforming. Not through fear, but through a sense of collective purpose. Humanity was preparing not just as individual nations, but as a single interconnected species. The mysterious signals continued their rhythmic dance, unaware that the planet they were studying was rapidly becoming something entirely unexpected. Would you like me to proceed with the next part, or elaborate on any specific aspect of this section? Part 3. Initial confrontation. The first signs of invasion weren't dramatic explosions or massive spacecraft appearing in the sky. They were subtle, tiny disruptions in communication networks, strange electromagnetic pulses, and unexplained technological glitches that spread across the globe like a silent whisper. Lee Sung-min watched the initial moments from the Global Coordination Center in Busan. At 42, he had spent years preparing for scenarios most people would consider impossible. The room around him was a hive of activity, screens flickering with global data, communication experts working frantically, and a sense of controlled tension that could spark into action at any moment. The alien approach was calculated and cold. They had studied Earth for years, believing they understood every aspect of human capability. Their initial strategy was simple: disable communication, create confusion, and demonstrate technological superiority. But they hadn't counted on human unpredictability. As communication networks began to falter, something extraordinary happened. Instead of panic, people started creating alternative communication methods. Local communities switched to old radio systems. Amateur radio operators became critical. Communication nodes and innovative tech teams began developing rapid response communication protocols. Small towns in rural areas became unexpected bastions of resistance. Farmers who understood manual communication, local technicians with deep understanding of basic communication systems, and community leaders who could organize quickly became unexpected heroes. The invasion's first wave targeted major technological infrastructure. Satellite systems went dark, Internet connections became unstable, and global communication networks seemed to collapse. What the alien force didn't realize was that humans had been preparing for exactly this scenario. Sungmin's team had developed a decentralized communication strategy. Instead of relying on a single system, they had created multiple, interconnected communication channels that could rapidly reconfigure themselves. When one system failed, another would immediately take its place. Schools, community centers, and local government offices became emergency communication hubs. People who had gone through adaptive thinking training now put their skills into practice. It wasn't about fighting back with weapons, but with intelligence, creativity, and an unprecedented level of collaborative problem-solving. The alien force found themselves confronting something they had never experienced before. Every time they disrupted one communication channel, humans would create 3 more. Their technological superiority was being challenged by human creativity and adaptability. Technological teams worked around the clock, developing innovative solutions. Old technologies were repurposed, new communication methods were invented on the spot, and every potential communication channel became a weapon of resistance. What made the human response truly remarkable was its collective nature. This wasn't a military operation controlled by a single command center. It was a global organic response where every individual became a potential problem solver. Satellite dishes in remote villages were repurposed. Amateur radio operators became critical communication networks. Local community centers transformed into communication and coordination hubs. The entire planet was reorganizing itself in real time, creating a defense mechanism that was living, breathing, and constantly changing. The alien force, expecting a quick and decisive victory, found themselves confronting a species that refused to be defeated. Every technological attack was met with an unexpected, creative response that defied their strategic calculations. As the initial confrontation continued, one thing became clear. This was not going to be a traditional invasion. Humanity was writing its own rules of engagement, transforming a potential defeat into an opportunity for unprecedented collaboration and innovation. Would you like me to proceed with the next part, or elaborate on any specific aspect of this section? Part 4. Psychological resistance. The battlefield wasn't just about technology or physical confrontation. It was a war of understanding, of psychological resilience that would challenge everything the alien force thought they knew about intelligent species. Kim Min-ho, a young psychology researcher, had been studying human adaptation long before the invasion began. From his small research center in Daegu, he recognized something profound. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology, but in its ability to transform challenges into opportunities. The alien force had studied countless civilizations. They approached each conquest with a mathematical precision, breaking down societies into predictable patterns of resistance and surrender. But humans were different. They didn't follow any standard rules of engagement. When traditional communication channels failed, people created new ones. Community centers became impromptu communication hubs. Local markets turned into information exchange networks. School playgrounds became sites of collaborative problem-solving. The entire social fabric of human civilization began to reshape itself in real time. What truly confused the alien invaders was the human capacity for emotional resilience. Most species they had encountered would break under systematic technological attacks. Humans did something entirely unexpected. They adapted, they collaborated, they found humor in the most challenging moments. Social media platforms, once considered mere communication tools, transformed into complex resistance networks. People shared survival strategies, developed innovative communication methods, and created a global support system that transcended traditional boundaries of language, culture, and geography. Young students developed encryption methods using local, cultural codes. Elderly community members shared traditional communication techniques that predated modern technology. Artists created visual communication systems that could bypass technological disruptions. Every segment of society became a potential resistance mechanism, The psychological warfare wasn't about fighting back with aggression, it was about demonstrating an unprecedented level of collective intelligence. Humans showed that their strength wasn't in individual heroism, but in their ability to work together in ways that defied logical prediction. Local communities became microcosms of resistance. In small towns and big cities, people began developing communication methods that were deeply rooted in human creativity. A group of musicians in Seoul created a complex communication system using musical patterns. Farmers in rural areas developed signaling methods using traditional agricultural practices. What the alien force didn't understand was the human capacity for emotional complexity. Traditional invasion strategies relied on creating fear and hopelessness, but humans responded with something entirely unexpected, a combination of determination, creativity, and an almost playful resistance. Research teams around the world began studying the invasion as a complex psychological challenge. Universities transformed their research priorities, developing new understanding of collective human intelligence. What was happening wasn't just a technological battle, but a profound exploration of human potential. Children in schools began developing communication games that could transmit complex information. Community theater groups created performance-based communication networks. Every aspect of human creativity became a potential resistance mechanism. The alien force found themselves confronting a species that refused to be categorized, that could transform challenges into opportunities faster than any technological system could predict. Their advanced algorithms, designed to understand and control, were constantly surprised by human unpredictability. Minho's research revealed something profound. Human resistance wasn't about individual heroism, but about collective adaptability. Each person became a potential problem solver, each community a living, breathing defense mechanism. As the psychological resistance continued, the aliens began to realize something terrifying. They weren't just fighting a civilization. They were confronting an entirely new form of intelligent life, one that could transform challenges into opportunities faster than any known species in the universe. Would you like me to proceed with the final part or elaborate on any specific aspect of this section? Part 5. Cosmic Transformation. The final confrontation wasn't a moment of violent triumph, but a subtle revelation that would forever change the universe's understanding of intelligent life. In a small research center overlooking the Pacific Ocean, a team of scientists gathered around their final set of calculations. The invasion was ending, not with a spectacular battle, but with a profound understanding that would reshape cosmic perspectives forever. The alien force, which had conquered countless civilizations, found themselves completely bewildered. Humanity had done something unprecedented. They had transformed a potential extinction event into an opportunity for collective growth. No previous civilization had responded with such adaptive intelligence. What made human resistance extraordinary wasn't their technological capabilities, but their ability to transform challenges into collaborative opportunities. Each attempted attack by the alien force was met with a response so creative, so unpredictable, that their advanced computational systems couldn't process the human approach. Global communication networks, which had been developed during the invasion, now became something more than defense mechanisms. They represented a new form of collective intelligence that transcended traditional understanding of communication and cooperation. Scientific teams around the world began documenting the unprecedented response. Universities transformed their research priorities, studying how humans could develop such extraordinary adaptive capabilities. What had begun as a potential extinction event became a profound exploration of human potential. The alien force's computational systems began to malfunction. Their understanding of intelligent life was fundamentally challenged. Humans weren't just resisting, they were demonstrating a form of intelligence that defied mathematical prediction. Young researchers discovered that human resistance wasn't about individual heroism, but about collective adaptability. Communities worldwide had developed communication methods that combined technology, culture, and human creativity in ways no computational system could predict. As the invasion slowly dissolved, something remarkable happened. The alien force, instead of retreating in anger, became increasingly fascinated. They realized they had encountered a species that represented something entirely new in cosmic understanding. Global leaders, scientists, and community representatives began preparing documentation of the encounter. This wasn't just a story of survival, but a testament to human potential. Every community, every individual had played a crucial role in demonstrating humanity's extraordinary capabilities. The research center where the final analysis was conducted became a symbol of human resilience. Scientists worked tirelessly, documenting every aspect of the resistance. They understood that this moment was larger than a simple invasion. It was a profound cosmic transformation. What truly amazed the alien observers was the human capacity for compassion alongside resistance. Even during the most challenging moments, human communities continued to support each other, to find humor, to demonstrate an extraordinary emotional intelligence that went beyond simple survival. Educational systems worldwide began integrating lessons from the invasion. Schools started teaching adaptive thinking, collaborative problem-solving, and the importance of collective intelligence. The invasion had transformed human understanding of its own potential. The final communication from the alien force was not a declaration of defeat, but a message of profound respect. They had encountered a species that didn't just survive. They transformed challenges into opportunities for growth and understanding. As global celebrations began, scientists realized something profound. Humanity had just written a new chapter in cosmic understanding. They weren't just a species that could survive. They were a civilization capable of transforming fundamental challenges into extraordinary opportunities. The universe would never be the same. Humanity had demonstrated that intelligence isn't just about technological capability, but about adaptability, creativity, and an extraordinary capacity for collective growth. Would you like me to provide any additional details or refinements to this final section?